talk to me through a PPAs for those people who don't understand what that is, but it's obviously massive tax advantages for short-term rental investors, right? And it stands for purchase price allocation, but it's a little different than like just the regular bonus depreciation, cost segregation, like where we talk about that a lot. The short-term rental loophole, the PPA is even more aggressive and can save even more massively on taxes, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that was a big piece for us. And was important for us as well, too, in that purchase, because 2025, the business that I'd launched had done well. And so there were, a lot of driving forces behind, having some of those tax advantages that you mentioned. I like to kind of describe it as a cost seg on steroids. Kind of same principles. I think the key piece that we kind of learned along the way is that you need to have the PPA language as part of your offer. And there was some maneuvering that we had to do in terms of the language and how we positioned it, and then when things kind of get into underwriting for the loan, like how that's positioned and how you set up that agreement. But we ended up going through Revo and Mike, who I know is a Vodyssey partner, and they helped guide us through that. They helped craft the language and things like that. So when we made our offer, that was included as part of it, to say, hey, the seller agrees to a negotiated and agreed upon purchase price allocation, and then that's basically naming the value of everything in the purchase. So instead of just saying, hey, I'm buying this property, it's saying I'm buying these components that are worth this much. And so as a result, you're able to then kind of count those in a more advantageous bucket from that perspective. Same concept as a cost segregation, but you're kind of defining that from that standpoint.
Yeah, and you need the cooperation of the seller, right? There's 100%. Like to your point, it's definitely like a cost seg on steroids, but there's moving parts to it. You both have to be on the same page. Both sides, you have to have the right language, and sometimes the language that the CPAs want to have and the IRS wants to have, the lenders don't want to see, and so you're navigating a lot of different things. But the advantages can be massive, and so it's as much of a headache as it is. It can be a massive discount on basically buying that property, right?
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. And so we ended up not getting as high of an allocation as we had hoped for, but still well within the range of it being way more beneficial for us. And so we had to balance kind of timing as well. So this was, I think, late November. So we were in crunch time for being able to close before the end of the year and launch it and everything. And so even though we didn't get as high as where we wanted to, and this was because the seller had some other things that were going on that he didn't want to go that high on some of the allocations, which is fine. And so we reached the agreement, and it still ended up being a very good way for us to purchase the price. The
more beneficial than just the regular cost seg and bonus depreciation.
Yeah, I would say probably by about 2.5 times more. In terms of actual benefit.
Yeah. And that's been my experience when I've yet to do a PPA personally. I've done the cost seg and the bonus depreciation and got audited on it. So I know it works, but with zero changes. So we know we know it'll hold up, but I have not done that. But it is very attractive when I see the numbers. Sometimes it's 2-3 times as much of a tax write-off and a savings that you'll have just doing a regular short-term rental loophole. So that's awesome. Yep. Good to hear. I didn't realize you guys did that on that property. So that's awesome.